Hello ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, innies, outies and in-betweeners. Welcome back to another PAP Reports. Today is Wednesday the 19th of February 2020. Today we start with an update on retired Police Scotland Inspector Keith Farquharson. Thanks to Gordon for sending me the link to this. I did miss it yesterday, so much appreciated. Now I've already mentioned this guy in PAP Reports 8th of January and PAP Reports 13th of February. Keith was accused of killing his wife Alice at their home in Aberdeen in August last year, although he had denied murdering his wife and instead suggested that he came out of the shower and found her unconscious. Farkas admitted to having affairs with other women and told the court Alice didn't trust him. She had suspected him of seeing another woman shortly before she was murdered, the court was told. The court also heard police initially believed her death wasn't suspicious before being persuaded by one detective to investigate the case as a murder. On the morning of the murder, Farquharson got up to start his shift as a school bus driver. As his wife lay in bed, she asked him, "Do you love me?" Farquharson admitted he groaned at the question before claiming his wife slapped him. The ex-traffic policeman insisted that they had struggled and he put his hand over Alice's mouth to stop her screaming. Farquharson went on, "It was as if she started to choke. I knew something was wrong. When I let go, she just rolled off the bed." He made a panicked 999 call, but medics were unable to save Alice, who was found to have suffered mechanical asphyxia. Farquharson then spun a web of lies to relatives, claiming that he had discovered Alice stricken in the bedroom after hearing a noise while he was in the shower. But he told the trial, "I continued with the lie because I was in a state of shock. I felt guilty and did not want my family to know." Guilty? For killing your wife? Never. Anyway, Keith's hearing has now been heard and a decision has been made. Although he initially asked for an amended plea of culpable homicide, which was rejected by the prosecution, he was found guilty of murder by a jury at the High Court in Glasgow and will now face his sentencing next month, which has been said to be a life sentence. Now, I don't quite understand. If you're giving someone a life sentence for murder, why the hell are you letting them go for a month? I mean, knowing the kind of cretin this guy is, he's probably going to take the easiest way out and do himself in before he even gets sentenced. I mean, it's going to be hard work being a copper in prison, isn't it? He should have been taken directly to court, from court to jail and put in general population. Go directly to jail, do not pass go, do not collect £200. Another update for you all, something I know you've all been waiting on news from, and unlike the mainstream media, I don't mind giving details if I have them. The mainstream media seem to have gone out of their way not to show pictures of or mention by name PC 3139 William Sampson from Ecclesfield Police of South Yorkshire Police, who, as most of you already know, thought it would be a great idea to steam into two 16-year-old lads who were having words after a football match and twat one of the lads around the head with his baton, with what can only be described as the utmost of excessive and unproportionate force. The 16-year-old victim was left with a huge gash on his head, in my view, as bad as, if not worse than PC Stuart Alton's injury, who was hit with a machete by Mohammed Rodwan in East London last year after a traffic stop went bad. Rodwan's actions were described as brutal and shocking, and looking at the images that accompanied those reports, it certainly was. However, in order to create a similar or potentially worse injury to that of a sharpened edged machete, using a rounded baton takes far more force, and I'm sure you'll agree that if we hear anything less than Sampson's attack against the 16-year-old boy being brutal and shocking, then there are some serious issues to address. Thankfully, it seems that the IOPC have told Sampson that he is now subject to a criminal investigation for his actions. An IOPC spokesman said, "We have launched an independent investigation and advised a South Yorkshire police officer that he is subject of a criminal investigation in relation to the incident following the Barnsley v Sheffield Wednesday football match on the 8th of February 2020. We will also investigate the officer for gross misconduct. The investigation is in its initial stages, and us launching a criminal investigation does not mean that charges will necessarily follow." No surprise there. Well, let's hope the right decision is made this time, and for those of you who watched the video of the incident and come out with all that crap about supporting Sampson's actions, and that my interpretation was wrong, blah, blah, blah. Where are you now? Let's hear you make some more excuses for this attack. Although I do find myself wondering what happened to the police female who hit the man while he was on the floor. I'll check into that later. 67-year-old Judge Jonathan Durham-Hall QC has stepped down amid an investigation by the Judicial Conduct Investigations Office. And the surprise factor is that this time isn't the first time he's been in trouble. In a shocking twist, back in 2017, he was found guilty of misconduct because of comments following a case in 2015 in which he gave the victim a rehabilitation order and offered to pay a 15-year-old's court fine after she stabbed her paedophile abuser 6 years after he managed to walk free from court for the crimes he committed against her. In fact, in that previous incident, when delivering his remarks of the case, Judge Jonathan Durham-Hall said, "It would be a disgrace to send a survivor like you to prison," and instead he handed her a rehabilitation order and told her not to pay the mandatory victim surcharge, saying, "If anyone tries to force you, I will pay it myself." This time, however, his issues don't come from a good deed. Recently, Judge Jonathan Durham-Hall has sparked a misconduct probe after allegedly sending sex texts and porn videos to a female worker at the court where he sits. The resident judge, who pulls in over £140,000 a year, has agreed to step down while the Independent Judicial Conduct Investigations Office investigates. The investigation is expected to focus on whether he has breached standards by sending the explicit messages and images to the woman, although she has reportedly moved into his home in Keighley, West Yorkshire, causing their relationship to escalate. Now, whether she's moved in a bid to make out it was more than just someone sending another person naughty messages is something we're likely to never know. But unlike a magistrate who has pretty much zero understanding of the law, this guy is going to be a bit more clued up in what action he can take to potentially exonerate him from these misconduct charges. I guess only time will tell, and when more information becomes available, I will of course share that with you. And now we're back with Thames Valley Police. Yes, again, where it's reported that more than 3/4 of household burglaries in Thames Valley are closed without police identifying any suspect. Home Office figures show that of the 6,507 residential burglaries reported to the Thames Valley Police during 2018 and 19, 76% were closed with the outcome listed as investigation complete, no suspect identified. In 9% of cases, a suspect was identified and the victim supported an investigation, but evidential difficulties prevented further action, while a further 3% of cases were closed because the victim declined or was unable to support any further investigation. Just 6% of the residential burglaries reported to Thames Valley Police last year resulted in someone being charged or summoned to court, and that's down from 7% the previous year. Now, it's important to note that the burglary of garages, sheds and outbuildings, for example, are included in those figures as well as home burglaries, but distraction burglaries are recorded as separate offences, and so they're not included in the figures you just heard. Police Federation Chairman John Apter said, "Having your home burgled can be one of the most devastating and impactful crimes people experience, and its effects can last a lifetime, as can the investigation. Every police officer joins the job to help people and catch offenders. These statistics will be as soul-destroying for them as they are worrying for the public." And with many forces struggling to cope with 999 call demand and others unable to fill detective positions, it's not surprising some crime types are becoming harder to prosecute. What the service so desperately needs is long-term funding deal to enable all forces to return to a position where they are properly resourced to meet the demands they face. Well, it's no wonder then they're all going out of their way to deal with hurty word and so-called hate crimes. It seems offenders must be easier to locate in order to up their numbers in these particular instances, providing of course it's not an offence against a non-protected group. For the Scottish viewer this time, I always advocate filming your interactions. Well, this makes it even more important for you to do just that. It turns out that Police Scotland have been warned that they haven't got the money to buy body cameras and smartphones for frontline officers this year because of an inadequate budget. Shouldn't that be in an inadequate force? David Page, the Deputy Chief Officer for Corporate Reserves, said, "This means, for example, that we will only be able to issue mobile devices to some of our officers, nor will we be able to commence the work to equip Police Scotland officers with body-worn video. This equipment, which is basic equipment issued to officers in England and Wales, was one of the key recommendations made by Dame Elish Angiolini's independent review into complaints handling, investigations and misconduct issues. This is a vital piece of equipment to assist in the safeguarding of officers' health and safety and can be a key tool in the investigation of complaints against the police. It also means that there will be less than half the level of funding required to maintain the policing estate at its current low level, so further deterioration and failure can be expected in 2020 and 21. He also said the force had warned since last summer that it needed 74 million to put in place reforms to make police service fit for the 21st century. However, the 46.6 million was only 3.5 million more than they got in 2019 and 2020. And once an extra 5 million ring fence for greener vehicles was deducted, there was actually a real terms reduction on last year, which is the second consecutive year their available capital has reduced. He added, "The impact of this settlement is that no new change improvement activity will be possible in 2020 and 21. So folks, if you're Scottish and you want to ensure justice, then make sure you record the police in every interaction that you have." This next report is courtesy of Stuart, who sent me this by email after I'd edited and rendered this video that you're watching, but as I thought it was so shocking, I had to make this one and splice it into the video and then re-render it. 33-year-old West Yorkshire Police Cyber Prevention Officer Jonathan Plummer is currently in court at Leeds Crown Court for his trial over the following charges. Count 1. Distributing indecent images of a child between July 7, 2017 and August 14, 2018. Count 2. Making indecent category of photographs of a child, 339 still images and 133 moving images. Count 3. Making indecent category B photographs of a child, 258 still images and 25 moving images. Count 4. Making indecent category C photos of a child, 1,250 still images and 42 moving images. Count 5. Possessing prohibited images of a child, 248 still images and 2 moving images. Count 6 and 7. Possession of extreme pornographic images. I do hope Plummer doesn't see Spitshine's charges as a competition to try and beat. Among the images Plummer is accused of having in his possession are images of animals being sexually abused. Totally not a funny thing, but I'm sure there'll be plenty of jokes about the fact he worked in a pig farm. Plummer was a PCSO with West Yorkshire Police at the time of the alleged offending and also held positions in the neighbourhood policing team in Wakefield and had a role as a cyber prevention officer. He was arrested and cautioned in August 2018 at his then home on Bradfield Road, Wakefield, and it was searched. Electronic devices were seized from the property and sent for digital examination. Ms. Revel, the prosecution, said Plummer's mobile phone was analysed and found to contain indecent images of children and extreme pornographic images. Much of the illegal activity had been conducted through a heavily encrypted app. Images depicted babies being tied up with rope. Sexual images featuring dogs were also found, along with a graphic video of a woman being mutilated with a sword. Ms. Revell said images were accessed and distributed under the username Vile Degrader. The jury was told that evidence was recovered which showed Plummer had been in contact with a 16-year-old girl in Australia. The prosecutor said Plummer and the teenager exchanged images and discussed a fantasy about rape. Plummer, now of Langdale Avenue, Outwood in Leeds, pleads not guilty to all charges, and the hearing continues. And finally, we have another teacher who has abused their position. 56-year-old Paul Stuart Turner was accused of engaging in sexual activity and or sexual intercourse with a student referred to as Student A on one or more occasions shortly after she left Saffron Walden County High School. Along with that allegation, it was also alleged that Stuart Turner kissed the student in question on the lips and rubbed himself against her on more than one occasion. However, those allegations were not proven. Stuart Turner, who was a teacher at the school between 1996 and 2018, entered a 3-year-long relationship with the student after she left school in 2005. In 2016, the student claimed that she had been abused by the teacher, which triggered a police investigation. However, no further action was taken. Subsequently, the school held a disciplinary hearing in which Stuart Turner was dismissed. 6 witnesses gave evidence to the panel, including former and current teachers at the school. The school's former head teacher and 2 former colleagues of the school both praised Stuart Turner for his professional excellence. Caroline Derbyshire, executive head teacher of Saffron Walden County High School, said afterwards, "This hearing considered a historic incident which occurred 15 years ago. When the incident came to light, all safeguarding policies and procedures were followed. The member of staff involved was dismissed and the matter referred to the relevant authorities. The last time he taught in the school was July 2017. We are satisfied that the matter has now been concluded and the appropriate action has been taken by the Teaching Regulation Agency. At Saffron Walden County High School, the safety and welfare of all students is our utmost priority and we follow all appropriate safeguarding policies and procedures. Together as a school, we are now moving forward, focusing on our stated core aim to provide all our pupils with education of exceptional quality." Stuart Turner has received a lifetime ban from teaching, although he is able to apply for the order to be set aside at the earliest date of January 17th, 2025. Doesn't exactly make it a lifetime ban then, does it? Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Big thank you if I mentioned you for sending me a link. You know who you are. Please like, share, comment and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, as I know many of you will. And until next time, stay safe, look after each other, film the police and other officials.
Good night, all.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you like the content and you'd like to help support the channel, you can do so. In the description of every video there are some links to ways that you're able to help support the channel so I can continue putting out content. If you're unable to help us in that way, hit that subscribe button up the top there. If you haven't already, become a subscriber. That is support enough. Share the videos, comment, like, it all helps. If you're looking for something else to watch, up top there is my latest video. Down the bottom there is a video that YouTube recommends for you.